Wait, did we just finish quick hits in less than 10 minutes?
Yeah, we did.
All right, every audience,
It's
note
never
this.
happened. It's
And it will
never happened.
probably never happen again unless there's no news.
No, I have a desire for us to talk soups. So that's what it is.
Ah, yes.
I don't want it put off any longer. All right, there we go. Oakley dokley. All right, so we are. So yeah, normally we'd be talking castings and announcements. We'll get to that later in the show. I might be end up doing that solo, uh, but we definitely want to talk Superman and Lois and give Tom a chance to speak on it because um, we've talked about before. I had watched the pilot, loved the pilot, but had set the show aside for a moment because like one, it was coming out weekly, so it didn't have surprising. Like if unless I really get into the show, it's hard for me to follow stuff weekly. Um, Me and Tom shoot this Fast and Furious two commentaries on that, and then he's like, and everything we were doing in between, it was like another Superman and Lois. Which,
I,
as I
I,
was struggling with Fast and Furious, that's a good ploy to get me to finish.
yes, I should be a drug dealer
Yeah,
to
it was a
get
good
people
palate
hooked.
cleanser.
Come on, just a little bump of
Oh my
Superman.
god.
Won't
But
hurt anybody.
Uh, Tom, what do you just your impressions of Superman and Lois, just like from the
I was so. This is going to sound a little weird. I was not really blown away by the pilot, which actually to me is a good sign because often CW shows um, come out real strong and then just fade. And this one didn't come out as strong.
that's true.
The only thing that was strong about it was, and I forgot his name already, uh, uh, Superman and how he portrays him.
Tyler Honigan
Yes. Um,
or Hot. I'll figure it
we're
out.
just going to call him Ty.
Ty.
So, yeah, I thought that he was really one of the best representatives or representations of Superman that I've seen in a very long time, both from a writing perspective and an execution perspective. So kudos to the writing team as well.
Yeah. Which we had reported on with Nadria Tucker like months ago. So I am still curious what happened because I know we've gotten her side of it. Warner Brother or the CW side of it was a little murky. So um, I am still aware of that as the show goes on. Like I don't think it's a dark specter that hangs on it. The show's really done really well for the POC characters that are in that. I don't feel like they're misrepresented. At least we get one in a major role. That's very important. That
Yes.
as we go along with the show, he's in a complicated situation. And I'll just leave it at that for people that have not watched it. But it's good. Um, so yeah, I don't know if it was. Yeah, again, I don't want to speak too much on what we don't know, but I would like it's just this weird thing that's like hung over it when it started. Now that I'm in it, I'm like, it's really good.
hmm
Um,
I will say in regards to representation though that Smallville might be the most diverse small town Kansas or small Kansas town ever, ever, ever.
yeah, especially when you start getting the other folks working for Morgan Edge and stuff
Yep.
like that, you get to see more sides of the town.
Or just looking around the high school.
Very true. Yeah, so the football team, different people that are interacting with the twins. Yeah.
hmm
Uh, so some things that stand out. Lois is not just, and this is not a knock on Amy Adams because I think Amy Adams, if she was given more to do in the movies, would knock it out of the park. A la go watch Arrival. Uh,
Oh,
she held that movie, so it's fine. She can do that. But if you don't give her anything to do,
yeah.
sorry, there's only so much.
If anyone ever doubts Amy Adams' acting chops, just watch Talladega Nights.
That's your pick. That's where you
Yep.
went.
Yeah.
That's
I
where
mean, think about that. Think about like all the serious stuff that she's done over the years, and everyone forgets that she owned that role in Talladega Nights. Just,
I mean, I guess fine, but Elizabeth Tulloch is really good. She acts it very well, but she has like her role in the town is important and is central to the plot. So it is not I am in trouble all the time and Clark's trying to save me. It's like my investigation is central to us being able to move the plot along and know what we need to do next. Right. Clark's obviously investigating some pieces of it, but she's the driving force on that. So he really doesn't know what to take out unless that's that groundwork laid by her, which I think is really, really good because it's a partnership. It's not just Superman and Lois happens to like having her name in the title. They're actually living up to the fact that she needs to be like a partner in it. And I love that.
Yeah, I do appreciate the fact that she helps propel the plot. She isn't a subplot or a side plot for Superman.
Mm-hmm.
And in some ways, she is more of his handler than anyone else. And I don't necessarily mean that in like
no, but I get
like the typical modern day view of the husband-wife dynamic, where it's just like, oh, well, I've got to ask wife's permission if I can save Moscow from a nuclear bomb. It's more of, hey, I've been finding this thing. You need to pay attention to this.
Yeah.
And he listens, which is the other good thing. Also, the emotional labor. Sorry if I'm bouncing around a little bit.
I know you're good.
The emotional labor that they show in that show is fantastic. There's I forgot what he didn't, because he was busy saving the world, he didn't show up to a town meeting that she needed him to show up to fight something. And she's like, nope, I get it, you're Superman. And he's like, no, I get it, you're still pissed. And I understand that, and I want to acknowledge it. And they have a conversation about it, which is kind of great.
She gets to be frustrated.
Yeah.
And she gets to talk about the complicated nature of that and being like, I'm mad at you, and I know I shouldn't be, but I also like that she's like putting it out there. Like, I get that you're Superman, but I really needed you here for this. Like, and that's something we don't like. Okay, here's how it is. A lot of other shows would have just made that the tension, and especially if they didn't have their what's the word I'm looking for? If his identity was still secret. Like they didn't able to use that as spotter to say, oh, well, but he can't really explain what's going on. So we would have gotten just her chewing into him. And then the audience just has to sit in that. Everybody feels terrible. And then a la Invincible, which I can get into a whole longer. And so it's a whole thing.
Yes.
And
then they would have, Superman and Lois, the divorce arc for season 2.
Yeah. Sorry, my monitor was going to try to cut itself off, and we do not need that in the middle of the show. Okay. All right. The kids almost drove me nuts.
Yes.
But one, I feel like when we get to season 2, they probably be more settled in. And I think pilot-wise, to your point, like the things that didn't blow me away in the pilot, the kids didn't blow me away in the pilot. But I got more endeared to them as it went along. And like the melodramatic pieces of Smallville, to the same thing I just said about Lois, they still have like impacts on the characters going forward in the show and in the plot to some degree, depending on when it is. Like the argument that happens after Morgan Edge later in the season and the town reacting to that and the fallout from the people that supported him or didn't support him. Like you see those repercussions that have been built up with, it's like, okay, these people know each other. This person tried to get this person a job. And then when it all just things start to fall out. With me, again, I'm trying not to say too many. I really don't want to reveal plot points because there's some good little twists and changes in the show. But yeah, but if you hadn't had that build up, when people start expressing their anger at how certain things went down, you would have no investment in it. Like you'd be like, who is this random person that's getting mad at Lana Lang for this thing that she did? It's like, well, that's the same person she's been interacting with for episodes ago. So I'm like, sometimes it can be a little heavy-handed in spots, but I think it ultimately pays off, which I think is a thing that CW shows run into, is that they just drama, and I'm like going back to
Yeah.
the secret identity nonsense. It's like, yeah, but you gotta give our character a break. Like you gotta
Yep.
let it something resolve. You're not built. You haven't built up to anything, or you built up and you didn't do anything with it.
Yeah, you can't have Flash keep on screwing up the timeline so that he has to fix all the problems that he just fixed.
Yeah.
For season 3.
Some things that stand out as well. I got a picture Clark on here in his plaid. Feels very much like very Smallville.
Yeah, very
a
Tom
line,
Welling.
yeah, a line that was it some things that have been said about him as he walked around the town, or like some nods to his history there are really important. But a line from the comics, and I'm gonna bring up the classic Superman suit. So when I say classic, a lot of people probably thought that somebody might follow me on social media where I was talking about the classic suit. It's like I'm not talking about the Reeves suit. I'm not talking. No, I'm talking about this one.
This is OG.
And he put this. It's a line from the comics that just like I almost forgot that it was a comic line when he says, "Thanks, my mom made it for me." And it's not just the comic nod; it's the Ty just delivers it so earnestly. I just believe I believe him. He's like, yeah. He's like, I believe that he's excited to say that my mom, my mom made this. This is great. Yes. And then
the genuineness of his expression as Superman is it's something that I've missed. With all due respect to Henry Cavill, he was written and directed to be, broody and insufferable. But this guy is like, he's genuinely well balanced. I mean, he feels the weight of the world on his shoulders, but also he's constantly he's choosing to look for the good in people. And they do the work to show that, which is something that most people who try and do Superman get woefully wrong.
And you know what's funny, now that we brought up Snyder and Cavill a little bit, is there is a dark Superman story arc in this.
Oh yeah,
and it's done way better. We're seeing different particularly the U.S. government, and how they have responded to Superman. Everything is not honky dory in this show. Like there's like even before we really get to figure out what's going on, there's already some conflict there about how he wants to live his life and how the government would like to deploy him. And they've already thought of contingencies if something were to happen where he's no longer on their side. And then that's a central conversation in this show. So if you're worried about what his right to be on planet Earth and what he does, and you are interested in that conversation, this is the show for you. And I would be hard pressed if you liked Snyder's and you come over here and you don't like this. Then I would kind of question, like, I don't think you really wanted to have that conversation. I don't think that's really I don't think that's really why you like those movies, though.
And I think my thing is that I think you actually like Batman, but
yeah, Batman being an authoritarian dick. Oh man, oh gosh. Let's see. Did I have any other photos? Yeah, yeah.
I'll go back to it. Their relationship is really good.
Saves them in a couple episodes.
What?
Saves them in a couple episodes.
Yeah, absolutely. Saves the world in a lot of ways.
Saves the world.
But I appreciate some of the work that they show in their relationship as well.
Yeah.
And as annoying as the boys are, his efforts to try and manage to it, and the way that they did, kind of like this man-to-man defense mode of the kids for a bit, where she was fielding Jonathan, he was fielding Jordan, and
last quick things I'll say. We have talked about cinematography on the show quite a bit. and I didn't really have time to pull some shots from the show, unfortunately. Well, I mean, obviously we're looking at some things here, but we could talk about the flashback episode where you get to see the classic suit. I think there's some really telling shots in that one.
Yes,
But generally,
and a classic cover from that as well.
Yeah, but it doesn't. I can tell I'm watching a TV show. So to be clear, you can definitely tell that there's a quality of it that's shot as a TV show.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't feel like it's a CW show. The cinematography work going into here does not feel cheap or plastic. Like there are so many scenes in the Flash, in their little headquarters room where I'm just like, I can't, or pick a fight scene, and again that's where the TV budget shows up sometimes, just like how he's fighting on screen, when he's fighting some of the aliens that are going to show up in the show. That can be where sometimes the budget breaks down a little bit, but with everything else being fine, like that's the one area is like, okay, the CGI in that spot, and that's not so great, but shot wise, a lot of things are set up well to succeed. And I think I just like, if there's anything, it's like, hey, what's going to be different about this show? It's like you will visually see a major difference compared to other CW shows.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it, and like one of the things that I think is interesting is like there's this when you look at the Flash, there's a lot of like track and pan shots that are in, it's like the same track and pan shot in the laboratory, where the camera's like moving and then let's follow that conversation. Like and that's been like common in CW.
It's painful.
It is. I think what's interesting is that for the first time, I see a CW show leveraging the space, because like we've got this giant farm. Let's use it. Let's pull the camera 100 yards away from them, and use that space to just show how empty it is for them. In fight scenes and other things like that, they really use space better, I think.
Conversations around the dinner table, shots out front on the porch, really
Mm-hmm.
like striking as well. Yeah, to your point, but they're using the space in all of those. So this is a 15 episode season. There's an episode premiering tonight, and the season finale will be next week. So expect in 2 or 3 weeks, me and Tom will give like a spoiler recap of the season, if we're able to watch all of it and get caught up after season finale. So the episodes are available on CW for free. You can watch them all there. The CW app is a little finicky, but generally, like, if you don't want to pay for buying the episodes, you want to just watch on the CW site, you can do that legally. The other thing I will note is they're extended episodes. So that's a key thing, is that these are extended, so they're a little bit longer than what you would get on a network broadcast. So some of the scenes are a little extended, or they add there's maybe 1 or 2 deleted scenes that get added in. I think the pilot is extended. There's a Luthor episode that's extended as well. That's all I'm going to say with the word Luthor. I'm just in there. Stop. Cool. So hopefully we got you all excited for Superman and Lois. And
yes. Also, they use in the pilot episode, they use my block for establishing shots of their home in
oh yeah, that's right.
Wherever the heck that is, Metropolis.
Yeah. What do you mean? Wherever the heck it is? Come on now. Come on, Tom. Yeah, fun job to do.